I also want to talk today about a couple other things, two other things. One of them and the other. There it is. Okay, so one of the things I want to speak to today is, and this is a question, really. I mean, how do you define empowerment? How do you really see empowerment as being? As having the confidence and courage and power in yourself, belief in yourself, and stepping up to the plate and doing it and playing, well, not, you know, be, obviously. Now, the downside of empowerment and the perils of empowerment, well, we can say there was Hitler, we can say there were so many people. And I think that we all know those. But there's also something called the distortion of empowerment. And some women show that form of empowerment. Now, what does this mean? Basically, as if I were to say to you, guess what? I'm giving you the responsibility. It's up to you to do this. I'm not going to do it for you. You're the one that's going to have to do this. But then that person is telling that person that they need to do this a certain way, by a certain date, by a certain time. That person's telling that other person what to do. But then they also have the freedom to do it when and how they want to do it on their own accord that meets up to certain expectations. Or it could just simply be, guess what? The parent telling the child, I'm not going to do this for you. You need to do this yourself. The parent telling the child to be free. The child did not make that heartfelt decision. Independent and owning authenticity of decision making. Completely himself on his own terms. Instead, somebody else told him, oh, you need to do this way. It doesn't have to be as specific as all down long, but it can just simply be, you have to do this independently. I'm not going to help you. I want to empower you, quote unquote, but that comes from somebody else. My mind says very clearly, my beliefs of life, one of those beliefs is, and it stands to reason that there is a difference, but you have two separate categories. One of them would be empowerment. The other one would not be that, or would be dictatorial. Two separate categories, very different, opposite. And if you want to merge the two together, well, they don't quite mix. Because they're different things. Empowerment is encouraging, uplifting, positive, invigorating, gets the spirit of someone really going. As opposed to the dictatorial side, which is top down, which is, I'm giving you the empowerment. I want you. Because the whole thing about I want you, that I represent somebody else coming into the picture, somebody else projecting themselves, projecting what they want, projecting themselves and their desires and their aspirations and their goals of what they want to see onto you. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to be empowered. That may not be what that person wants, and that person sees their empowerment differently, and they may not want to be empowered to do it on their own. They may need some help and some support and some assistance. It's their choice whether they want to empower themselves. And if they do, don't discourage it and don't squash the life out of it and don't suppress and punish and, whatever. It's two forms of empowerment. Two forms. Well, wait, okay. When I say that, just forget about that. The point is, encourage it, but don't push it. Let that bird fly completely free, and when it decides to leave the nest, let the bird decide on its own when the time is right, when the bird feels that the time is right. That it's right for the bird to fly from the nest instead of pushing for the bird to be empowered to fly away from the nest. The distortion of empowerment also looks to blame. And it always goes back to you. You're in some way you're responsible, even if you're not. Typical example. The parent blames the child for something which was not in his or her control, yet they were somehow responsible. You should have done this. Or maybe if you did this, it wouldn't end up this way. Or maybe if you did, so that's negative, and that is not empowerment. Empowerment and that blaming is not responsible. You can do it. I know that you can do it. You're responsible. You need to do this. I'm not going to do it for you. You need to do most of this. It's up to you to do this. You make it meaning. I mean, all these statements are pushy and kind of negative and dispersuading if it isn't done in a way that is, again, encouraging, inspiring. You're on that person's side. You support that person, which means, you're not up here telling the person what to do. No, you are with that person. And support of whatever they need to do, whatever they want to do, whatever they feel is best at whatever time. I've known one female that was ready or in the works. I've known one female that was tough, harsh, well, kind of serious, traditional, meant business, demanded and expected a lot. To the point where, you could build a fence post. Or maybe not a fence post, but a post around the side of the house. You could have a basket of flowers. I don't know what kind of flowers. And other face pictures. And let me show you just who I think that this distorted form of empowerment would be before I move on to the next little segment of this. By the way, before I do, I just want to check what is, okay. Okay, let me see here. Hopefully the thing didn't show up. Okay. Oh, it's just going to be an endless search. It's not showing up. So I'm good. I'm absolutely fine. All right, now, forgive me for doing that. Good grief. Okay, now, what I want to talk about next. Well, never mind. A piece of the pie in Rome. We all came here to die. And I've just lost substance.